guys, welcome to my channel. The name's Simswalo Masie. Welcome to Nurtured Arise. And yes, for all my returning subscribers, thank you so much for the love and support. And for those of you who have not subscribed yet, please click the red subscribe button. It will be worth your while, I promise. So yes, today I'm talking from teen mom to super mom. Yeah, I believe that's what I am. So yes, you guys, I want to just take you through my pregnancy journey with my first child and just tell the story of how everything transpired, how I felt, and the things I did to, in a way, make myself feel better, and etc, etc. So yes, teenage pregnancy, number one, you guys, is one of it's so challenging, to be honest. It's quite challenging, but that does not mean that anything that is challenging cannot be overcome. You know, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to discourage anyone who is in that position, like many other people would do. You know, people will tell you that being a young pregnant mom is hard, and you know what isn't hard? Everything in life is hard, and everything is there to, in a way, allow us to overcome ourselves. And if you are going through teenage pregnancy in this moment, please don't despair. Please don't feel like it is the end of the world, because it's not. And yeah, so I fell pregnant when I was 17. I was in high school, and you know, just finding out that I was pregnant, I had missed my period, right? And I knew that I've never ever missed my period. That means that something has happened. And you know, I did not have money to do an abortion, because I wanted to do an abortion, but I had no money. And at that time, I was literally just trying to come up with ways I can, you know, hustle the money, and I can, you know, make sure that I get the money to go do that abortion. And the reason I wanted the abortion was obviously because now I'm 17. I am freaked out of my mind just having the thought of telling my parents that I'm going to be a mom. Also having to be a mom, you know, having to leave school or, you know, continue school as a young mom, like all of that just terrified me. And yeah, so in the pursuit of trying to get that money for the abortion, you know, I started opening up to my friends and telling them, oh my gosh, you guys, I'm pregnant. And they could see it as well, you know, even though it took long for them to see it, because I only started showing around 6-7 months. And fine, you know, things started becoming a challenge, because now as a 17-year-old, you're going to school. Now your teachers start turning against you. You know, your teachers will make you feel bad for being pregnant. You know, they will never ever support you and come and say, you know what, Nswalo, we realize that this is where you are right now, and we're here to guide you and support you. You know, there was actually never an adult figure that came to me that ever told me that, you know, we are going to support you, and fear not, you know, just like all the good stuff that any young mother would need to hear in that space. And you know, so it was quite an emotional journey, because even my friends in high school started to turn against me, and they would make jokes, you know, like they'd act like in my presence, they would obviously act like everything was okay, but when I'm not at school, they would talk about it, they would make jokes, and you know, you'd be the talk of the town. And what was nice is that I really didn't care, because now I knew who I was, and I always knew and trusted my capability. And it's what actually led me to starting a campaign called Embracing Blessing. So I started a campaign called Embracing Blessing with a girl called Rutendo. She was the only person, actually, to be honest, who actually opened up to me, who showed me support, and who fueled my fire that I had in terms of being optimistic and trusting in everything that was happening at that time. So we started a campaign called Embracing Blessings, and Embracing Blessings was started to empower and to uplift pregnant teens and young moms, right? Thing is, you can't necessarily control someone falling pregnant, and it's not like I'm endorsing or encouraging people falling pregnant, because in truth, I can't literally take someone and let them sleep with anyone. People, like, I don't have that control over people, whether I talk nice about teenage pregnancy or not. So I'm not influencing anyone, and I don't even think it's within my right to influence anyone. People make their own decisions, you know. So when we started the campaign, we started it to empower these young women, to in a way show them that being a young mom does not mean the end of the world. And you know, being discouraged does not mean that you don't have the capabilities within you to become whatever you desire. And this will just be something that will in a way challenge you, but it doesn't mean that it's setting you back, or it's creating or eliminating a successful life for you. So this was merely to show these women that, you know what, we can't stop people from falling pregnant, but how do we implement that support structure that they are not getting at home in order for them to see that, you know what, this is not the end of the world, you know? So stopping teenage pregnancy is quite inevitable, but how we actually take those young girls and we start showing them and guiding them that, you know what, there is more to life than you being a mom, and you can conquer it and accomplish that journey even when you have a young cub there with you. And yes, many people may come from disadvantaged backgrounds, but that still does not mean that they can't create anything that they want. I mean, manifestation is there for a reason. The law of attraction is there for a reason. Everything is created from our state of being and our state of mind. And if we then start teaching these girls that, you know, everything is, you can overcome everything, then it's easy for them to start trusting the process and to start trusting the fact that they have been given this child in order for them to, in a way, overcome themselves and to learn a lot that they need to learn within that phase of their life, you know. And when you are in a state that is like that, you start to appreciate yourself as a mother. You start to have a good relationship with your kids. You know, I've heard women saying that when they were teenage moms, they used to resent their child because of the dad not being there. They used to treat the child badly or even ignore the child when the child was crying. And these are things that in a way reflect how you feel about yourself. I mean, if you're someone who's truly loving to yourself, there's no way you'd make a child feel like they are unlovable, whether you're upset at someone, you know. And even being able to love yourself allows you to block out anything that has to do with self-hatred, with self-doubt, and people who are spiteful or people who are AWOL fathers. You find yourself in a position where you are so accountable of your emotions, so accountable of your actions, and you just want to spread love within yourself, which in a way bounces off to your child, you know. So you'll never find yourself struggling to love the child and feeling like, oh my gosh, this child has ruined my life, because there's parents who do that, you know. They do that, especially young women, because they are made to feel very bad about them having a child at a young age. And I don't see a difference between someone having a young child at a young age and someone who's having a child at their 20s or 60s. Yes, at your 20s or 60s you may be more stable, but it doesn't necessarily mean your thinking capacity is more advanced to someone who is 18, because there are 18-year-olds who are mature and there are 26-year-olds who are immature. So it doesn't necessarily change how, you know, you can mother and become a better person. And for those who do feel like, oh my gosh, like I'm gonna be missing out on a lot, what makes you think that when you do have a child at 26 you won't be missing out on anything? You know, there isn't necessarily anything you could be missing out on. And at times you'd be 18 having a child and you think, oh my gosh, I wanted to go to varsity, I wanted to become successful, I wanted to do all these things. Yet you find people who are 26 that didn't even look into going into varsity, that aren't even looking into becoming successful. They just want to be trending and posting and doing all these things. And you literally look back and think, oh my gosh, maybe if I did had a child as an 18-year-old, maybe my life would have been more structured. And I'm not taking away anything from people who are doing whatever they like. I mean, it's a free world. But let's not put young women who have kids at an early age down, because there is no such thing as missing out. There is no such thing as I'm gonna, you know, not be successful because there's someone who's holding me back. There is no one holding you back except yourself and your beliefs. And if you've got that belief and that concept in mind, you will never ever succeed and you'll never ever really amount to anything. So this is my advice to all the young women that were teenage moms or are teenage moms. And you know, if you find yourself struggling to, in a way, find that inner voice within you that encourages you to take accountability and responsibility of yourself, because now thing is, people think that having a child is external to you taking care of yourself. I mean, if you take care of yourself, naturally you also are able to take care of this child. But if you aren't taking care of yourself and you aren't meeting your own needs, then obviously it's going to be hard for you to meet the needs of the soul, and things will be a challenge for you. So in truth, if you truly want the best for yourself, you can't say, no, I now work hard because of this child, or I've got this job now because this child motivated me to get the job. No. You got the job because you know that you need the job in order for you to take care of yourself. And when you're able to take care of yourself, you're able to also take care of your child. So if you are a young mom, or if you were a young mom, start to actually look at the fact that loving yourself and taking care of yourself allows you to share that with everyone else around you. It does not take away from you because now you've got a child, or you had a child at a young age. No, it doesn't, you know. So I had my daughter at 17, and I had started this campaign because I was so passionate. Like I saw with myself that no one was supporting me, no one gave a damn about me. Instead, people were just talking about me and, you know, just making fun of me. Whereas it's always good to have a community of women that are lifting you up, community of women that are encouraging you, that are telling you, okay, Tinswalo, we see that you are 17 and you're gonna have your daughter, and this does not mean that you are not able to continue with life. This does not mean this is the end of the world. Yes, it'll be a challenge, but it does not take away all your gifts, all your talents, or your ambition. You are still that woman who has that ambition, but you're gonna try, and you now need to try and maneuver in a different way, having in mind that you've got a child now. You need to be a present mom. You need to take accountability and, you know, teach your child well, have a good relationship with your child. Because another thing is that kids end up growing up to be messed up because, you know, they never had a present parent. Their parent blamed them for their failures, and, you know, because there are parents who do that. They'll tell their kids that, you know what, hey Mina, I could have been this, but because I had you at an early age. And kids take that, you know, they grow up feeling like they faulted their parents and they were not enough, and, you know, their parents hated them because if it wasn't for them, their parents would have been a successful person, which is all a lie. I mean, if you can be successful without a child, then you can definitely be successful with a child. Success does not choose whether you've got a child or not, you know, and obstacles are always going to be there whether you have a child or not. So your obstacle may even be bigger than you having a child. You know, you could come across someone who does something so harmful to you, and that's even harder for you to even overcome in order for you to channel yourself to the success that you want. So obstacles are constantly going to be there. And if you feel a child is an obstacle, then that does not mean that you can't succeed if you've got a child. So yes, that campaign went very well, you guys. I started going to antenatal clinics and talking to these young women, just encouraging them, looking at their dreams, what the support structure is at home, how they plan to actually further their studies, and if there's anyone who's going to be assisting them in terms of taking care of the kid when you continue school or when they're busy with work and so forth. And then fine, there came a time where eventually I gathered the money for the abortion, right? And then there was my neighbor who was also pregnant. Like, she spontaneously came. She was like, oh my gosh, I'm also pregnant. I'm like, hey, me, I'm going to do an abortion. If you want to come with, let's go, you know? And then she was like, oh my gosh, how much is it? I'm like, yeah, it's extra. I forgot how much it was, you guys. I think it was 1.5. I forgot, but, you know, it's not even important. And bear in mind, I'm about almost 7 months pregnant, and I had called, you know, these Nigerian people, guys, that do all this illegal stuff. I had called and I'm like, okay, I'm almost 7 months pregnant. Do you guys do abortions? You know, and I'd Googled. They were like, yes, abortion from 1 week to 7 months. I'm like, is it not dangerous? They're like, no, it's not. Those pills will work. And, you know, especially when you're young, like, you don't necessarily know how big a child is at 7 months. And you do believe that, especially when you're desperate, you know, you believe that it can happen. So fine, I tell my friend that, you know what, so tomorrow I'm going to act like I'm not going to school and my transport is not coming. And then I'll take my home clothes and put them in my bag, and I'll take off my uniform when we make our way. So yeah, she's like, okay, that's a plan. Mina, I'm not going to school completely, so we can go. I'm like, all right then. So that morning I wake up, you know, and I act sick, and I tell my parents that, you know what, I'm sick today, I don't feel like going to school, you know, blah 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 blah, just some lame story on why I don't want to go to school and why my transport is not coming. And, you know, they're like, it's fine, you can stay home, you know. And then at a certain time, I ate down, you know, I ate down. So I leave and I run out, and my dad is like, hell, where are you going, and why is your bag so full? I ignore him, I run. So I see my friend, and then we start walking quickly. And she's like to me, oh my gosh, your dad is behind us, like, you know, he's walking, like, why is he following us? I'm like, just ignore him, let's run, you know. So we run. We come by a taxi, so we do get the taxi, and then fine, as we get into the taxi, it's like, that's relief, oh my gosh, I see my dad. Then he turns around, and we laugh. I'm like, oh my gosh, anyway, let's go do this, I'm ready for this. And then fine, we get to the next taxi station, and then I change into my home clothes so that I'm not looking awkward in my uniform, and then I change, and then we get into a taxi that's now going to Germiston. So this guy who does the 7 months abortions is in Germiston. Fine, we get into the taxi, and immediately, like, my mom sends me a message saying, where are you going? Please don't do what you're doing. You're not the first person to fall pregnant at a young age, and you'll not be the last. Please, yes, you made a mistake, and just come back. So I respond, I try and make her feel bad. I'm like, no, yes, you said I disappointed you, so I'm trying to take away the guilt and the shame and the disappointment that I've caused to you. So this is why I need to do it. It's important for me to do this, blah, blah, blah. And then eventually, fine, we get to that place where they do the abortions in Germiston. And then now we're consulting. This guy is telling us how the pill works, and you drink it, and after that you drink a Joko tea. You must put, I don't know how many tea bags, and it must be strong, and then you'll go to the toilet and everything will come out. And then there's other pills for cleaning the womb, He takes us through all of that, and then I get a call from my sister. My phone rings, so I step out of the room and I talk to her. Now she's also giving me a lecture. She's saying to me, you know what, like, it's so stupid what you're doing, please just come home, like, she just gives me such a deep lecture, and like, that lecture literally helped me to come to my senses. I was like, you know what, let me not do this, and I had already formed like a bond with my daughter, and I had already told myself that, you know what, like, I'm so happy to be a mom, and it happening now means that it's meant to happen. But the influence was literally from how people were making me feel, especially when I had to go to school, like the teachers, and during my commute, like how people will stare at me in my uniform and my bump. So that in a way like forced me to want to do the abortion, because I couldn't take it, But eventually my sister knocked some sense into me, and I thought to myself, you know what, let me not do this. Let me not be affected by how people feel about themselves and them portraying it onto me. Let me just keep my baby and just do the best that I can. So I come in, and my friend has already taken the pill, she's even at the back of the room, I don't know doing what, but she had just taken the pill. So I tell this guy, you know what, Ishmina, I don't want to do an abortion anymore. Can I please have my money back? Like, I'm all good. He says, oh, okay, no problem. And then me and my friend leave, and we go back home, and then I reconnect with my family, and my mom says, I'm so glad you didn't go through with it, and so forth and so forth. And then eventually, yes, I do have my daughter, and that literally changed my life, you guys. I'm not saying that my life would have been bad without my daughter, and I'm not making an excuse for her coming into my life that, I found purpose, because I've always had purpose, and all of us do have purpose, but we always make a mistake of making it seem like our kids have, in a way, given us purpose, and, they've made us know what love is. That is all fliff-flaff, that is not true. So yes, I then told myself that, you know what, I'm going to be devoted to being an amazing mom, and young or not, I'm taking on the challenge. And I did, things started going so well for me. I started working. Well, I had to drop out because things were not fine financially at my home where I was growing up with my mom and dad. Things were not fine financially, and then I had to drop out. I dropped out of school, but immediately I did so well with my campaign. I even did like an interview on 3 Talk with Nolene, where I just spoke about the campaign. I was featured on YFM's Young People Who Are Doing It Big for Themselves. I did a whole lot of interviews on Shift, on, I had a whole lot of coverages that I did where people would interview me. They loved the type of work that I was doing, and yeah, I continued with the work, just helping these young women. I had lots of sponsors, so I'd give them food, I'd give them nappies, I'd give them all the stuff that they needed, and just create a program for them that will in a way shift them into a mindset that is of working hard and just shutting out the noise of the world, and just becoming the better version of themselves. And yeah, you know, like when I look back now, like I am so proud of the mother that I am. You know, I'd hear some women who were young pregnant moms saying that they don't stay with their kids and they are glad they don't stay with their kids because they can groove in these the gabza the smalls and all of that. But to be honest, like when you, I'm not saying it's a wrong thing or it's a bad thing. You know, people have their own ideas of what mothering is and what they want to do. And yeah, it's not up to me, but I am so grateful that I took on the challenge and my child was always my first priority. And that's why in business as well and in work, I was always so fortunate because my goal was to always make sure that my kid has had, you know, clothes, she had money for school fees, for transport and all these other things. And it led me to where I am now. You know, I'm here because my goal was to literally become an amazing mother, and becoming an amazing mother meant being an amazing individual. So when I tapped into just working on myself and being an amazing person myself, it allowed me to, in a way, grow the horizons and to attract all the amazing things. Now I am a super mom of 3 beautiful girls, and one of them is crying right now. So yes, you know, it's such a blessing to be able to raise your kids and to and I've had this discussion with her as well. You know, my now 8-year-old, I told her, like, you know what, I had to leave school, but I'm so grateful that I had you. You know, you were such an amazing little kid. And I still tell her now, like, you are such an amazing little kid. Like, she is so amazing, you guys. My little Uzile is so amazing. She's such an amazing young sister. Like, you can see how she treats the other kids, that, you know what, she's learned so much from her mom. And I'm so proud when I see her and how responsible she is. You know, kids pick up what their moms are, and kids project what they see from their parents. And I'm so happy that she always shows love. She is so nurturing. She's just a loving little kid, and I'm so thankful that I had the opportunity to take on that challenge and that responsibility. And yeah, you know, she forced me to, in a way, work even harder. I'm not saying she was the reason for me to work hard, because I genuinely wanted to work hard. I mean, if you want to be successful, you work hard, so no one should be the reason. But she, in a way, cornered me even more to literally fight that, you know, I had to fight even harder. And I'm so thankful that I'm here. So yes, for all the moms that are listening, please don't be discouraged. If you feel like your kids are, it's their fault that you've been set back, no, it's not their fault. And you know, it's your fault. Don't make excuses for your failures, for your laziness, for, you know, I know excuses feel good, but it'll never pay off, and all you're doing is hurting your child by making them feel like it's their fault that you are not succeeding or accomplishing the stuff that you want. So yeah, for all the teen moms, I'm not saying that it's easy. Like I said, nothing in life is ever easy. So just take on that mentality, that fighting spirit mentality. Know that you can make anything happen. Know that that child is a blessing, and you're going to be able to overcome any obstacle in life. And I mean, if you can overcome something at a young age, at 18, trust me, there isn't anything that's going to break you at a later stage. So look at it as a challenge that is, you know, preparing you for something even greater later in your life. So yeah, so, you know, if you want more on this topic, if you want to talk more about the community that I had created with Embracing Blessings with young moms and teen moms, if you want to donate anything for young moms, feel free. And yes, you guys, thank you so much. I hope this actually shed light to my mothering and how the journey started. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you have not yet subscribed, please subscribe. It will be worth your while. Thank you, thank you, thank you.